It's 16 minutes after 8 o'clock. It's the Monday edition of the South African Morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Gareth Edwards. We know that every day South Africans are under threat from criminals. We've heard from the Police Minister, Becky Cele. He is announcing terrifying crime stats, showing an over 60% increase in contact crimes. It's not 60%, it's an increase of 60%. This morning we turn the spotlight on crime in the country. We've all been affected at some point or another, haven't we? Our reporters out and about around the country speaking to different people about how crime affects them. So Nqobile Madlala in Johannesburg for us. We'll also be hearing from Lethiwe Mdluli in Durban in a short while, and in Cape Town we also have Ronald Masinda. Nqobile, let me come to you, and the question we're asking this morning on eNCA is, South Africans, have we become desensitized to crime in our country? Tell me what you've been experiencing where you are and what people have been telling you.
Well, Gareth, people here say that that's the normality in these streets. But just to bring you closer, Gareth, we are in Yeoville. Now, you will remember in 2019, Minister Becky Cele was here with the then Minister of Home Affairs, Ronald Masinda, and they were basically having an imbizo where they were speaking to some of the residents here to understand what sort of crimes are they faced with, what sort of issues were they faced with, and some of those issues. And one of the major points that lingered in that imbizo was the fact that they were worried about the highest crime rates that they were noticing here in Yeoville. But where I'm standing now, it's in the market where a lot of vendors come here and they sell for a living. And joining me now is a businessman, Sebastiano, who has been in this market for some time now. Sebastiano, how is it like working in this area?
Nqobile, good morning and welcome. You're very welcome here this morning. Yes. We have at the moment a very tough life here. At the moment the market is on its knees. As you can understand, we've just trying to pull through this COVID-19 experience. But at the same time, we have very real struggles in front of us as traders and vendors in the market here. Lawlessness is definitely one of them. So if we had to talk about crime and violence and that kind of thing, but the general perception that the rule of law is no more adhered to around this neighborhood and around here, this is what is also affecting us. It affects our customers, our client base is eroded. We just can't get people back into Yeoville, back into the center of Yeoville where our businesses are operating. As you can see, all our traders are here trying to make a living, but it's very difficult to attract the clients that we used to always be able to get. Even the simple fact of people coming on an Uber or a taxi over here, they have shied away from that now, because even that is a bit difficult for them when the drivers are getting attacked or the drivers are getting molested when they come into Yeoville.
Tell me, what sort of crimes have you noticed?
Well, it's the general thing. As you can see, you know, it's from petty pinching and pocket picking, and that even for our people, when they close their businesses at night to try and get back home to their homes, there's not enough street lighting, and around the market there's not enough street lighting either. And it's very difficult for them to get back, and it's also very difficult for customers to come here. The market only closes at 8:30, so it's very difficult for people to come into the market as after 6 when it starts getting dark, and that's the peak trading hours of this market. So it's extremely difficult for people to try and get into the market to buy, because they're afraid of trying to go home and getting robbed on the way home. Others that use transport to come over here, it's also very, very hard for them. Many people refuse to drive them here for fear of being hijacked or for fear of being robbed on their way out or in. So generally it is very, very bleak.
All right. Thank you very much, Sebastiano. Well, Gareth, Sebastiano is just explaining to us some of the crimes that they are faced with in this area, talking about the hijacking, the pickpocketing, as well as saying that this affects their businesses because people are scared to come and buy from them as there's not enough lights and there's basically what he calls lawlessness.
All right, that's from Yeoville in Johannesburg. Nqobile, thank you to you. Ronald Masinda near Greenpoint Park. Let's come down to you in Cape Town. Who have you been speaking to? What are they telling you?
Well, I've been speaking to several people here in Sea Point, and many feel that there haven't been solutions to the crime stats that have been the Western Cape has been grappling with. I mean, the Western Cape, after all, is considered as the murder capital of South Africa, where 11 of the top 30 police stations with the highest murder rate come from the Western Cape. But many people will feel that here in Sea Point, people are far removed from the reality that many people face in poorer communities where crime is rife. I'm going to be speaking to a couple of petrol attendants who agreed to speak to us, Gareth. Charles, I'm going to start off with you. Thank you so much for your time. What are your experiences with crime in the country?
Crime here in South Africa is going up shape every day. And the other thing, you can't trust even the law enforcement. So that thing. So what I'm suggesting is the law enforcement must work with the community, especially in high densities.
You work in Sea Point, but you live in Mfuleni, two different parts of the world. What are the issues with crime there in comparison to here in Sea Point?
Here in Sea Point, there is a lot of law enforcement here, including those armed response teams. So this side are safe than in the high densities. And also poverty is the other thing that's causing.
Thank you very much for your time. Tonrai, I'm just going to bring you in quickly. Charles Masuna there is originally from Zimbabwe and has been working in Sea Point for over the past 4 years. Tonrai, please just come closer. In terms of the question that I asked, also, what are the possible solutions you think that the police must implement in trying to resolve crime?
Okay. Firstly, I think the police must work with the community, so that they can gather information. How should they get into the communication? How should they get the information about how to give everything to the community, so that to them it will be gonna be easy to gather everything, whether it's information, whether it's ideas from the community, because the police cannot even work alone without the community, because all these crimes that happen in the community.
Right. Very lastly, have you ever been affected by crime, and to what extent?
Yes, I'm also a victim, because I think it was 2019 in July. It was on a Sunday. I was coming. By that time I was working. I was working here, and I was staying in Kalicha, inside B. So what happened, it was a Sunday morning, I was coming to work, I was attacked by 4 guys with their knives. So they took my wallet, they took even my lunchbox, they cut me here on a knee with a knife. So it was terrible, it was blood everywhere, and I was taken to the hospital in Kalicha, and I was treated there, and they make me about 4 or 5 stitches on my thigh.
All right. Thank you very much indeed, and sorry to hear about your sad story. All right, so those are some of the stories on the ground here. Gareth Tondarai talking about his own experiences. Kailicha, of course, one of the crime hotspot areas. He mentioned Saipi, an area where there have been several mass shootings this year and last year. So those are some of the stories that some people here have shared with us.
All right, Ronald in Cape Town for us, thank you. Let me also move down to Durban now. Lethiwe Mdluli, good morning to you. I believe you're with us as well at the moment. Hope you can hear me, Lethiwe, where you are. Very quickly for me, what are people telling you where you are as far as crime's concerned?
Well, Gareth, I'm coming to you from the Durban CBD, and I've been speaking to a lot of people who are making their way to work about some of the crime that they have experienced. What I can tell you is that a lot of people are saying that they have experienced crime, whether it's being mugged, whether it's getting robbed, or house robberies, or knowing someone who was murdered. They're saying that this has become so normal that they don't actually pay attention to it unless something traumatic happens to them. But what I want to do is speak to a few people here on the street. I'm going to attempt to speak to this gentleman right here. Sabona bod unjani?
Saphila njani?
Ngiyaphila. So ngicela ungitshele nje okabanzi mhlambe useke wabanjwa inkunzi before ungixoxele nje isitori esenzeka kuwena.
Yebo, mina sengabanjwa inkunzi endaweni yase Pine Town. Lapha ngasengotsha khona indawo yokudansa lapha ekuthiwa isengotsha cafe yakhona. Ngabanjwa khona nje abantu abawu6 ephethe immese nezibhamu. Ngiphuca amafoni nemali engangiyiphetheke lapho ngaleso sikhathi bayisebusuku ke futhi. Yeah mama.
Ngalesi sikhathi ubanje inkunzi wawusaba bayikhiphi ikhali.
Yebo bayikhiphi ikhali bangikhomba ngazi ibhamu nemmese. So kwaphoqa ukuthi umuntu akasayena ngasayenda ke bathatha yonke into ke bangishiya kanjalo ke mina.
Esikhathini esiningi ungasho ukuthi la eSouth Africa inkunzi nje icrime into ejwayelekile.
Idlange kakhulu mama la isekuseni semini ntambama sebusuku nje abantu babanjwa left right and center. Kodwa namaphoyisa ahleze khona kodwa imoto zedlula mahala nje. Kuzoliswa thina la esidayisa lemgwaqweni kodwa bona nje left right and center amaphoyisa asuke khona hayi ukuthi awekho. Asuke khona kodwa manje awenza lutho ngalo. So asazi fanele senja mase sibabamba thina sesibashaya sekuyinkinga yethu futhi sekuboshwa thina.
Ufike ekseni la ufika ngasikhatsini?
Ngifika around 4:45.
Yeah. Suke kusamnyama at that time. Ngicela ungitshele nje ukuthi nibonani la emgaqweni.
Sibona into eziningi mami yabo nje abantu banjwa ngisho wehle eTexini la usathi uyehla nje eTexini. Phuca isikhwama noma kushaya ngophethi bathatha amafoni whatever lo abangakuthola ngaleso sikhathi ngoba so bephuthuma bese beyabaleka. Uthola abanye bethu ke thina lesinye isikhathi esiningi esikwazi ukwenza lutho yabo ngoba nathi siyasebenza lemgwaqweni yabo ngiyakuyeka kwakho umsebenzi wenze nokunye futhi ngoba amaphoyisa kwawona amaphoyisa ajaha thina awabajahi bona yabo.
Nike nizame kodwa ukuthi niwa report lama cases emaphoyiseni.
Every day njalo kodwa manje amaphoyisa ayijika kuthiwa ithina imbangela yokuthi abantu babanjwe ngoba thina njengoba simkanje esayidini yabo kube bathini bathi sivimba indlela yokuhamba yabo so ingako kuba khona isiphithiphithi bese kubanjwa inkunzi. Zona inkinga esibhekana nazo ke lezo mama. Siyabonga.
So Gareth, just shortly, I want to take you through what Luyanda is saying at the moment. He's saying that he has been mugged before. He was mugged by 6 men in Pine Town. He's telling me that they had guns and he was very traumatized at that time. The only thing that they wanted was his cell phones. He's also saying that he is a street vendor here in Durban, and what they have noticed is that a lot of people get mugged on a daily basis, and there's not much they can do about it. They have reported these cases to the police, but not much is done by this. I would like to also include that KZN is one of the leading provinces when it comes to crime. The recent statistics released by the police minister show that there's an increase in all various crimes, whether it's petty theft, whether it's house robberies or murder. One of the problematic stations is the Plesisla police station in Pietermaritzburg. The Inanda police station reporting sexual offense cases. It's actually number 2 in the country, and also the Umlazi police station. So those are some of the things that ordinary South Africans have to deal with, and they have normalized this thing to a point that they just think it's something that happens on a daily basis.
All right, Lethiwe Mdluli, for the moment, thank you very much indeed for us down in Durban. Ronald Masinda down in Cape Town, Nqobile Madlala for us up in Joburg, as well as we take our focus on crime in South Africa around the country.